By the time I was 19, though, I was extremely bitter and angry and volatile, violent, and I had become a kleptomaniac. I was addicted to stealing everything around me, was heavily on drugs, and had really pushed everybody out of my life due to how, my own behavior. I ended up homeless with nowhere to go. I had a little car, barely. I had to open up the hood and put a knife, I had this butcher knife that I kept with me, and open up the hood and have to hit the solenoid switch to get it to jump off. And it was just a little beat up car that I drove. And there was 3 days of nowhere to live. I had my bags packed. It was black garbage bags in my car and an ironing board in the middle. And I remember having to put stuff in my lap. And if I was driving around, and I just didn't know where I was going to go. And a lady approached me. I was in the parking lot at AAA Women's Services, and a lady came out and approached me. And she had said she had noticed for 3 days me in my car. And she asked me if I wanted to come in and talk to her. And of course I said no. And she said, well, are you, where are you living? And I felt like, well, what do you care? It's none of your business where I'm living. Why are you asking me these questions? And I don't remember exactly how I responded. I just remember my attitude being, why are you asking me these questions? And she said, I think we can help you. We're a women's services that can help girls in need, and they're pregnant. And I said, well, I'm not pregnant and I don't have any needs. So thank you, but no thank you. So she kept pursuing me, and she kept trying to talk to me. And she said, just come on inside and talk to me for a minute. And I've got something for you. So I thought, well, whatever. So I went inside, and she came out and she handed me a key to her house. And she said, you can move in with me tonight. I'll get tears. Every time I tell this story, I get teary-eyed, honestly. They kept asking me to go to this man's house and this family's house, and they want to talk about God and all this stuff, and I kept saying, no, I don't want to go, no. Finally, I felt cornered one day. I felt like they really wanted me to go. They'd asked and asked, and I thought, well, I'll go. I'll go. I'll go hear what they've got to say. They just began to ask me questions about my life, and just started really probing and brought me to a place where I realized I really did not know God. I thought, am I saved? I don't know. I think I'm saved because I said a prayer before. When he asked me, did you say a prayer? Have you arrested Jesus in your heart? I was like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, who hasn't? Who hasn't said the prayer and asked Jesus in their heart? And so he began to probe even deeper, though. Do you know where you go if you die today? Why do you think that? He was just asking one after, and I really came to this place where I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know God. I'm really not walking with God. No, I'm not really saved because there's no evidence in my life that I'm saved. And then he asked me, are you ready to start fresh? Do you want to start fresh? God will really help you. He gave me all this hope of a new start. I can do this. God will help me. Just this new start. And I thought, it's kind of like taking the jump, like, okay, can I give up everything? And then he said, he'll meet you right where you're at. Just right where you're at. He'll meet you there. And then he'll help you. Don't try to look out, just right here. So I said, yes, I will. I think so. I will. I was really nervous, like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to do this? But I did. At that moment was when I really made a decision to walk with God. Now, when Mike and I met, he had just come to the Lord, and I had just come to the Lord when we first met. And then I sort of fell away and got pregnant and stuff. I came back and we met up again, and we're just friends. We had always just been friends. And he was very kind to me during the pregnancy, did not try to do anything with me, didn't, just saw my need, helped pay for things. God used him in a way that just to really help me. But the truth, for both of us, we were both still very self-centered people and stuff. We ended up getting married. Mike and I got married when Gabrielle was 2.5 years old, and he adopted her. And thus began the tremendous transforming journey through my marriage. I knew that even before I got married, this was going to be really difficult. There were multiple marriages between my husband's parents and my parents, and we'd never seen a really steady, godly marriage. we'd not had that example set before us, and we didn't really know how to do this thing. When Mike and I got married, I made this commitment to God that I would not divorce him. I would not leave. I was in this for the long haul, because I knew that we didn't know how to have a good marriage, but I was willing. And I knew that it was going to take everything within me and us walking with God together to make this work. So, really, it didn't happen like I thought. I really wanted this wonderful marriage, and I thought he was going to be great, and I thought, all problems were going to be solved because we were married now, and we were happy and stuff, but I became miserable really from the very beginning. And we went through terrible, terrible times. He fell away from God. Totally turned against walking with God and everything. And so here I was for a period of years walking with God by myself, without him, trying to raise children, and everything I was living for and going towards, he was going against. And God used this as that fire in my life, that refining fire. The difficult marriage, the difficulty in raising kids, not knowing how to do anything, clinging to him for every answer, to not lose my temper, to overcome evil with good, to love Mike in spite of the things I saw in him. Really, the problem was me. God, through this whole process of my marriage and raising kids, began showing me really what he was doing was transforming me. I wanted my husband to change. I wanted my kids to change. I wanted my circumstances to change. I wanted everything to change because I was miserable. But he was showing me that I was miserable because of what was inside of me, not because of the things going on around me. So, when I began to really get this, one night I remember just begging God for deliverance from this marriage. I said, I promise you I wouldn't leave, but will you make him die, or will you, I just prayed, God, please kill him, or take him out. He'll never change. Look at him. He is making all of our lives miserable. And I remember saying, God, please deliver me. And I knew the Lord said to my heart, deliverance is in your heart. It's not out here, it's here. And I thought, you're right. I can live, even if I lived in a prison, even if I lived in a bad marriage, even in all my troubles, I could really find freedom. And from then on, he's been walking with God, and we have built a marriage in the Lord and we now counsel with younger couples and teenagers, and we've raised 5 girls. We adopted one. We've got 5 daughters, and then we ended up taking on my niece and 2 nephews, and we helped raise them. And when, it's funny because at one time I didn't want children, and now I absolutely, my whole passion is to help kids really find the Lord at an early age, walk with God, give them hope.
How great the love of Jesus Christ. Upon the cross of Calvary, the blood was shed that pardons me. No longer